If you click this on accident or you are on autoplay, please stop now if you do not want to hear something extremely graphic. Honestly, I don't even think I'm allowed to say some of the words that are on here, but Taylor Shabusiness had a husband in jail, found out he cheated, got a boyfriend, was into some very extremely kinky coitus play, and when her and the victim went back to his mother's basement, she choked him until he passed away, at which point she did unspeakable things to his body and left. After she left, the mother came downstairs, found the victim's head in a bucket, and called the police. When the police arrested a blood-soaked Taylor, she says the rest of the body should be in the basement, that they were going to have fun finding his organs. He might have a leg and a foot in her minivan, and that she just couldn't stop. And she even admitted that she kind of liked it. So this is the most disturbing case, I think, of all time for me. So I think she's going to plead insanity. I'm not sure. We'll find out.
Okay, I'm going to call State of Wisconsin versus Taylor Shabusiness. Case number is 22 CF 363. The defendant is here with Mr. Jolly. Mr. Saunders is appearing for the state. Case is scheduled today for a preliminary hearing. Are the parties prepared to proceed?
The state is.
Okay.
The state is.
All right. State calls first witness.
The state calls Detective David Groff.
State your name and spell your last name for the record, please.
David Groff, G-R-A-F.
Can you state for the record how you're currently employed?
I'm a detective with the Green Bay Police Department.
And how long have you been employed with the Green Bay Police Department?
I have 29 years of law enforcement experience, 25 with the Green Bay Police Department, 15 years as a detective.
I'd like to direct your attention to February of this year. Were you involved in an investigation of a homicide around that time?
Yes.
And if you can, what was the nature of that investigation?
I was notified to respond to in the middle of the night to investigate a homicide. When the initial reports were that the mother of the victim had returned or actually had gone down into the basement of her residence and discovered the head of her son in the bucket. And so then she called the police. Initial officers responded, secured the scene, and then detectives were called in.
And the residence that was reported to have occurred at, are you familiar with where that residence is located?
It's located on the west side in the city of Green Bay, Brown County, Wisconsin.
And did you assist in that investigation?
I did.
What were some of your responsibilities?
My initial responsibilities were to interview several witnesses, including the victim's mother, as well then as the suspect herself.
The suspect that you referred to just now, who was that individual identified as?
Taylor Shabusiness.
In the course of this investigation, did you have cause to personally interview Ms. Shabusiness?
I did.
The person who you're referring to as Ms. Shabusiness, do you see him or her in court today?
I do. She's located at the defense counsel in the orange jumpsuit.
And as the record reflect, the witness has identified the defendant?
Yes, he has.
I've given you Exhibit 1. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is that exhibit?
This is the amended criminal complaint of State of Wisconsin versus Taylor Shabusiness.
Have you reviewed that document prior to today's hearing?
I did.
Directing your attention to the probable cause section of that document, Are you familiar with the reports that are referenced in that section of that document?
Yes, I am.
Have you previously had cause to review those reports as well?
I did.
Those reports, are those purportedly from officers from within your department?
Correct, and detectives.
And are those of the type of reports that you've commonly relied upon in the course of your duties?
Yes.
As a detective, do you commonly sort of review all the reports that are part of a case?
Yes, especially as a case detective, which I am in this case.
Okay. So you are familiar with the information that's contained within those reports as well?
Yes.
Based upon your knowledge of those reports and your review of the probable cause section of Exhibit 1,
Any evidence from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. State's request.
State moves for bind over based on Detective Groff's testimony here as well as the contents of Exhibit 1. I believe there's probable cause for the commission of a felony offense.
Mr. Jolly?
No argument at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, based on the information contained in Exhibit 1 and Detective Groff's testimony here today, I do find that there's probable cause. I believe the defendant committed a felony offense within the jurisdiction of the court. I'll order that she be bound over for trial and schedule an arraignment in branch 2.
Deputy District Attorney Saunders, the defendant is here in person, and with her attorney, Mr. Jolly. We're on the court's calendar excuse me, for an arraignment this morning. Mr. Jolly, have you and your client received a copy of the information?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you asking that the information be read out formally in open court?
No, Your Honor, we waive the reading of the information. I've gone over it with my client. It does appear to mirror what is in the complaint. We enter not guilty pleas and all counts.
Okay. Not guilty pleas will be entered on behalf of the defendant. Then the next, actually, the other files that are on are simply those probationary counts. There's a revocation on the books waiting to be heard. I'm assuming the parties just simply want those to be brought along with this case as opposed to address those now. Is that correct, Mr. Jolly?
That's correct, Your Honor.
State, have any objection?
No, that's fine.
Very good. Those will just simply come along until such time as we're ready to address those. The next thing we need to deal with is scheduling. What I'd like to do is get the matter at least on the calendar for a trial at this point, at enough time to allow the parties to complete their discovery and give them time to do that, but at least get something on the books. Any objection to getting a trial scheduled at this point from the state?
No, that's fine.
Any objection from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I don't know precisely the status of all of the discovery issues. I do know that I've gotten some orders across my desk to sign regarding discovery issues in this case, but I'm looking at mid-October. Any problem with that time frame, Mr. Jolly?
Your Honor, at this point, we haven't received any of the discovery yet. But, I mean,
Okay.
once I start reviewing it, I'll have a better picture of where we are.
Mr. Saunders, any idea when the discovery? Because maybe in the sense that I get the matter on for trial doesn't quite add up.
It's certainly available. I think perhaps maybe somebody from Attorney Jolly's office picked it up on Friday, but maybe our notes reflect it was picked up on July 1st. So it's done and prepared.
Okay, so you're indicating the discovery is been prepped, it's been picked up, at least the state thinks it's been picked up. With the holiday, I suppose there's room for a little bit of confusion on that. How about if we, I'm going to stick with the idea then of scheduling the matter for trial. Obviously, if you take a look at the discovery and these dates are going to be problematic, you have to let the court know. But how about a trial starting on October 24? Mr. Jolly, does that work?
That works.
This is Shad, the victim. What do you think about this? Had you heard of this before? This is super wild to me.